Hello, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Advocate Mahee Vohra, a dispute resolution lawyer trained in India and the UK. Currently, she's completed her LL.M in Comparative and International Dispute Resolution at Queen Mary University of London, one of the world's leading institutions for arbitration and international dispute resolution. Ms. Vora completed her BA LL.B from Symbiosis International University and went on to work with Dentons Link Legal in their dispute resolution team, where she handled complex commercial, construction, securities, and international arbitration matters. At Queen Mary, she has specialized in areas such as international arbitration, investor state disputes, energy and construction arbitration, and sports arbitration, while also actively engaging in legal aid and pro bono advisory work through Q Legal. Her journey from Indian litigation and arbitration practice to advanced dispute resolution training in the UK offers invaluable insights for law students considering an LLM abroad and a possible legal or paralegal career in the UK. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ritu. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, ma'am. You choose an LLM in comparative and international dispute resolution at the Queen Mary University of London. What is the duration of your master's and what made you select this specific specialization?
The duration of my degree was exactly 1 year. It was from 14 September 2024 to 15 September 2025. I selected this uh, specialization because all throughout my law school, I did majority of my internships in dispute resolution, primarily litigation and arbitration. And then I went on to work in the same field. And that's how I knew throughout my internships as well that if I'm practicing law, this is what I want to do. And just studying more, having a deeper understanding of how the international legal fraternity is was what I wanted. And so I chose a specialization.
All right. Can you walk us through the LLM application process step by step from shortlisting universities to preparing the SOP, CV, and references? What do universities like Queen Mary actually look for?
So, um, so first, when I decided to do a dispute resolution specialization, as you may be aware, dispute resolution itself has so many facets to it. It's not
Right.
just a simple, straightforward thing like, say, corporate or intellectual property or anything like that. So, because a lot of my practice it also involved insolvency. For a brief
Oh,
period, I did consider doing my master's in insolvency laws. But then I
okay.
realized how distinct UK and India insolvency laws were. And it would
Oh.
not really, add any benefit. So, of course, the Indian legislature is picks up a lot from UK
Mhm.
legislature. It, in a way, mirrors it. But you can look at it like the UK legislature is sort of leaps and bounds ahead, and India is sort of catching up. Of course, there is a different
Mm.
process which suits the Indian market more. So there are differences, but it is primarily it mirrors it. But then, because of this difference, I realized it would not really benefit me if I did a master's in insolvency laws. And I, while working at Dentons Link Legal, that was the first time I actually dabbled in arbitration properly. Otherwise, it was all academic knowledge, and I absolutely loved it. It felt so premier in a way, it was not in some in a court or but it was a room where you see all these luminaries sitting as
Ah.
arbitrators and the high stakes and everything. It was, as a law student, you could see how starry-eyed one could get. And so I really
Mm.
liked it at the time, but I was a little afraid. I thought, oh, I don't know enough. And what if I go do it and then I don't succeed? There's always a tiny voice in your
Ah,
head.
right.
So, but I was certain that it it is a subject that really intrigues me and that I would really like to study it to better myself in it.
Right. And can you tell us the step-by-step process? Like how did you
Oh, sure.
shortlist?
So when I decided that, okay, international arbitration is what I want to do, I started looking at universities to see which universities offer the most modules with for international arbitration. Because if you look at universities like um Oxford, they don't. have specified arbitration modules. Um,
Okay.
when you look at Cambridge, there are very limited modules, although they have an internal arbitration society, which is
Oh.
really active, and they also have a Cambridge Arbitration Day that they host. When you look at King's College, they don't have, again, many arbitration modules. Same with LSE. So I really wanted to have to study different arbitration modules because, as you recollect, I've studied investor state arbitration, energy arbitration, construction arbitration, sports arbitration. There is no other university that I came across that has so many
Mm.
distinct modules for this specialization. That was one bit. And second, if I'm not sure if you're aware, but Queen Mary University, the arbitration program is 40 years old. It was one of the first
Oh.
programs. I just in 2025 it completed 40 years. So it was one of the first universities to ever offer a program like that.
Ma'am, can you walk us through the LLM application process step by step, from shortlisting universities to preparing the SOPs, CV, and references? What universities like Queen Mary actually looks for?
Sure, thank you. So first about shortlisting university. So when I decided that okay, international arbitration is what I want to specialize in, my main uh, criteria was to understand which universities offer the most amount of modules in this specialization. Now, when you look at the most prestigious universities like Cambridge and Oxford,
Mm.
they do their master's degrees, they do not have specific arbitration programs, although they have their own respective arbitration societies. Like Cambridge also hosts Cambridge Arbitration Day, which is
Mhm.
really, I attended that last year actually on my birthday. It was really interesting, and you get the opportunity to meet so many people. So although these universities, including King's College, LSE, they have arbitration modules, but they're not so in depth that Queen Mary offers, like as you said, construction arbitration, energy arbitration, sports arbitration, investor state arbitration. So this was my primary goal, that I get to study each facet of arbitration in depth. And as you may be aware, actually, Queen Mary was the first university to have a specialized program like that. This program just had its 40-year anniversary last year in September 2025. And
Oh.
the legends of this industry, essentially, uh, Professor Lucas Mastellis, he is really, really well known in arbitration circles. He, along with other really prominent uh, people in the industry, they started this program. And when you get to learn from them, Professor Mastellis taught
Mhm.
us um, the arbitration modules, a few of the arbitration modules. And it's like, imagine being a 10th grader in CBSE and studying maths from R.D. Sharma.
Oh,
It was just
right,
like
right.
that. We referred
Yes.
his books. So it was
Oh.
absolutely amazing. So I knew that if I have to do this specialization, this is the best place to be for that.
Mm.
So that's how I shortlisted this. But about the application process, it's actually super straightforward. I thought that maybe I should engage in some, there's uh, companies that offer you help in filling out applications and visa processes and stuff. I thought maybe I should seek help with that. But then when I researched and looked up the process, it was very straightforward. So I decided to do it by myself. All applications are online. Some applications are paid. And Queen Mary, it was an unpaid application.
Oh.
Um, and they just needed you to submit your transcript, your statement of purpose, and the statement of purpose is very straightforward. Why do you want to study here? And you just write why you actually want to study. And if you've done your research, you would know why you want to study at that specific university. I
Right.
named the professors whom I want to learn from, and why I want to learn from them, and how it will help me in my career. So that is what I wrote in my statement of purpose. With respect to references, they usually, many universities ask for two references. Queen Mary only asked for one, but I had two just in case. So I took
Yeah.
a professional letter of reference and an academic letter of reference. For professional LOR, I took it from the managing partner at my previous firm. And
Oh.
for academic, I took it from one of my most favorite professors at my university.
Okay.
Professor Emma Rafaq, he's an absolute favorite of all the students. So he was he helped with the letter of recommendation. Um, and funnily, I applied in the beginning of November, and within 2 days, I had my acceptance. I think this is the
Oh,
fastest that
wow.
has ever happened. It was just 2 days. But
Wonderful.
with regard to what universities look for, I think the bare minimum, the skeleton is that you have a minimum of 60% in
Hmm.
your undergrad. But I also understand that the grading system of a lot of universities is very different. For
Okay.
example, from what I know of Mumbai University, they don't give you marks. Even
They,
for if you go, yeah, you don't score well there. I don't know from
ah,
my friends. That's just
right.
what I know,
That
that you
same
don't really
happens with the
score.
Delhi University here also, yes. It's impossible to get anything above 60%, 60, 61.
So there's also always a section in applications where you can explain the grading system in your university. And you can also specifically mention that, okay, while we understand that this constitutes as first class or distinction or etc., but this is just a system that our university follows. And you can give examples of, in the past, say XYZ years, the students who have stood first, these were the rankings. Or you could also actually give your class rank. That is also a very good way of showing or basically equalizing the grading system, because the grading system everywhere differs so much.
All
Um,
right.
it, so yes, submit all of these and it's super easy peasy.
All right. Could you also break down the subjects that you're studying, such as international arbitration, as you mentioned, investor state arbitration, energy and construction arbitration, and explain how practical or industry oriented they are?
Sure. Um, so I studied a total of, well, 2 modules first semester, 3 modules. So imagine, so in Symbiosis, we had 10 semesters, of course, like all law schools do, 5 years, 2 semesters each
Right.
year. And in the first 3 years, we had like 8 to 10 subjects in each
Mm.
semester. We were like
Yes.
bombarded with it,
Yes.
right? It was, I mean, now that I look back at it, it seems so nearly impossible. As in, I don't know how we did it, and I don't know how we're doing it. But
Mm.
here, we only had of course, you get a lot of options, and you also have the liberty to choose from modules across LLMs, across your specialization, just so that, if you want to have some sort of exposure.
Mhm.
So I did international arbitration theory and procedure, international arbitration practice, this both and investor state arbitration. These three were taught by Professor Mastellis. The
Mm.
president of LCIA, Professor Maxi Scherer, she actually taught us energy law and arbitration. So that was a huge deal. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just very star-studded with her. Um, then um, we had construction arbitration, and barristers from
Yeah.
specific chambers taught us these. And sports arbitration, again, a sports arbitration barrister taught us these. So as you can see, the professors here are from the industry itself, as compared to, of course, a lot of professors in Indian universities are
Yes.
also, the ones who have practice and they have actual exposure. But in my university, I think in my undergrad at least, it was not very
Right.
usual, or they were more academicians, so they didn't really have
Yes.
that practical experience. But all our modules were through these practitioners who are so well established in their field, and they actually give you an insight
Mm.
that as to what happens.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so we learned theory as well as case studies and procedures of how all of these in all these arbitration modules, and it felt like I am temporarily in that barrister's chamber, and they're telling me
Ah.
that, hey, this is how we do it.
Mm. Right.
So, so every module you studied basically inspired you to do that sort of specialization in arbitration as well. So very, very practical, very practical.
Nice. You also had the option of pursuing your LLM from reputed Indian institutions such as Symbiosis or National Law Universities. What factors influenced your decisions to pursue your LLM in the UK?
That is actually quite interesting. Yes. When you think of arbitration, specifically international arbitration, there are these commercial hubs all across the world where majority of the which are popular for arbitration. For so it's London because there's LCIA, there's Paris, there is um, in Europe so many, right? And of course now the UAE is also very popular for
They're
arbitration,
trying to, yes.
and now the in Egypt's also coming up for as a hub for arbitration. They're developing Cairo as a seat. So when you look at international arbitration, and of course, how can you forget the US as well? Um,
Yes.
so when you're looking at such fields where these arbitration practitioners, the seats are concentrated to certain geographical areas, it is why not go into the eye of the tornado and get as much as you can? Right? Of course, India is also very up and coming. The Delhi Arbitration Center is also
Yes.
very up and coming. And Mumbai has also had one in the last few years. But it will take some time for India to
Yes.
get there. And I um, want to someday maybe go back because I feel very like close in my heart to, of course, India. But right now, the time, this need of the hour is that you
Right.
go in the epicenter and
Yes.
get as much as you can.
Yes. Yes. True. And was this decision driven more by the course structure and specialization, global exposure, or long-term career opportunities? Why I'm asking is because how should students weigh these factors while choosing between India and foreign LLM programs?
But the reason for why a foreign LLM is what I told you, but why specifically London? That is because of how easy it is to qualify in that jurisdiction. So
Mm,
I did consider Australia and New Zealand. And so first, you must consider common law countries. So if your goal is to
right.
practice in that country, you have to look at common law countries. So you can look at Canada, USA, Australia, New
Mm,
Zealand. And and then you look at how easy it is to qualify there, right? So USA, it's very close. You can give the New York bar or the California bar. These are the only two which are open to internationally
Indian.
trained lawyers. But again, political situation and the visa situation in the US is not very good at the moment.
Right.
Um, I I did very limited research for Australia and New Zealand, and from what I understood, as an internationally trained lawyer, you can practice there, but you would always have to be shadowing another lawyer who is trained there.
Based there. All right.
Yes. So that I may be wrong, but this is what I understood from my limited um, research. I looked at
Okay.
initially I was actually considering Canada.
Mm,
And in Canada, it is fairly easier to qualify there because there are different provinces. Each province has its own rule. But I
okay.
also understood how saturated the Canadian market is because for a
Mm,
good 2, 3 years, I considered Canada. And then at the end, I looked at the UK. So my impression of the UK visa situation was earlier, just say 5 years ago, or less
mm,
than that, if you came to the UK for your LLM or any degree, you had, say, 3 or 5 months that you can stay. And if you land a job within these 3 to 5 months and you get sponsored, then that's
mm,
fine, then you can stay. But this postgraduate visa has been introduced in the past few years, where as soon as you
mm,
graduate, you apply for a 2 year graduate visa where you can work. And so that gives you
right.
2 years to find a sponsored job. Earlier, that was not
Mm,
there. And so given the subjects I wanted to study, the London being an important seat for arbitration, and
mm.
the possibility of working after that and qualifying, because qualifying as a solicitor, of course, we'll discuss that in depth, is also, it's appeared at the time that, okay, it is doable.
If an Indian law student cannot afford an LLM abroad, what practical steps can they take within India to bridge the gap in exposure and skills that international programs offer?
So there are three things that we'll talk about here. One is summer schools, summer programs.
Hmm.
Second is forage schemes. And the third is again vacation schemes. Um, so first about summer schools. So a lot of universities, like LSE, offer summer schools. A lot of my friends have attended it. It is for a limited period of time, so maybe a month or shorter. And it's not just the UK. There are these summer programs all over the world. I have friends who attended this summer program for 10 days in Dubai as well. One of my friends, he went to Prague for it. So they are all over the world and they pay you. I mean, the one in Prague paid him. So they offer
Hmm.
scholarships also for such programs. So summer schools are one way to really go for it and get that exposure. One thing that I mentioned, forage schemes. So not a lot of people who are in India know about it. So law firms, a lot of law firms, say 10, 20 law firms, offer this program. It's called Forage. It's as good as a very limited internship, like a 2-day internship. Think of it like that. So there is
Okay.
actually a website called Forage, Forage. You go to that website, you select you so it's not just law, this happens for all industries. So you select law, you select the specific field you're interested in. So I'm is interested in dispute resolution. So I select
Hmm.
dispute resolution. And then the list of firms offering this forward schemes is that list comes up. Then you
Oh,
can select specific firms and you enroll yourself. It's free of cost. And they basically give you, say, 4 tasks that a law firm
okay.
trainee would generally do.
Okay.
And that depends on your field. So if you do a dispute resolution task, or I remember just for getting an experience, so it helps you gain so much experience because even though I'm not interested in commercial law, corporate law, I did one forward scheme for corporate law, and it helped me understand um, the task that was given was about some
Hmm.
flow chart I had to analyze and see. I'm sorry, I did it such a long time back, so I don't really remember, but it really helps you gain exposure. First, it's free of cost. All that requires is your time and your
Hmm.
mental capacity. And these actually help you in the future. So not just getting exposure to what tasks a typical trainee would do. So they give you a certificate that, hey, you completed our forward scheme. And then when you
Okay.
apply for their vacation schemes or their training contracts, you can, so there is a section all these applications where they ask you that have you interacted with us before, or have you spoken with
Hmm.
any of our representatives, or they also just give you a box where you can just enter whatever you would like for them to know. And if you enter that you have done their forward scheme, it lets them
Hmm.
know that you are interested in them. And it's not just a spur of the moment thing that you're applying to them, but you have actually taken the effort to get to know the firm. And firms here
Hmm.
just want that. Even if you were to attend any networking events, by the way, a lot of them happen online as well. I remember I
Oh.
attended so many events that these law firms organized um, online on Zoom, and they'll do that so that a lot more audience they can get more audience because physically there's of course a limitation.
Hmm.
So all they want from you is that they want you to want them. They want to
Right.
know that, oh, you know so much about the firm and you desperately want to be join them, you want to
Hmm.
be with them. So this is one initiative that shows that you are actually interested is these forward schemes because it only requires your time.
Right. Forage. Forage. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. And finally, if a law student in India is watching this interview today, what mindset and preparation should they have before investing in an LLM in the United Kingdom?
This is a difficult one because I know the expectations I had. I
Hmm.
had all these dreams that, oh, I'll be, storming London and I'll be having so much fun. But it's as much fun as it is, of course, going to a new country is always fun. Realistically, I would say that first, what is your intention? You really need to analyze what your intention is
Right.
behind doing an LLM. Are you doing
Hmm.
it because you're not ready to? go to work, so you just want to study one more year?
Mm,
Are you doing it because you are actually interested in the subject, or are you treating it like a vacation that you have a lot of money, so you're like, chalo, I'll go on a
mm,
1 year vacation. So, and if or fourth, if your intent is to actually work in the country, um, if you have the resources and you can do it, I would recommend everyone to do an LLM because it really opens your eyes. But
mm,
if you don't have the resources and you are putting a lot at stake by taking this big leap, you are leaving a lot to chance because realistically, the job market here is very difficult, especially given visa situations. And I don't know if people are aware that, there's what a PR is for Canada, permanent
yes,
residency. Here
yes.
it's called ILR, which is indefinite leave to remain. So currently, the ILR is 5 years, that you have to be on a sponsored visa for 5 years, and then
Mm.
you can get
Again,
an
get
ILR.
married.
But
Oh,
yes,
okay.
but now it's becoming 10 years. So some company would have to sponsor you for
For
10
10
years,
years.
and only then you get a visa. And this change is mostly coming into effect in April this year, April 2026. So if your intention is to come here, do an LLM to work, you need to be very realistic that, as I said,
Mm,
96% of my class went back. The chances are very bleak. And it's not just about how good you are, right? You can be the smartest person, but if you don't get the opportunity, you will not have the ability to display your smartness, right?
mm,
So it's very, it really is depends on your luck and of course your hard work. But you have to
mm,
be realistic. But if you have the resources and you can spend that money, spend that time, and you don't have a lot at stake, then absolutely do this LLM. And it will really help. And also, if you want to get into academia, doing an LLM, doing a dissertation, from what I
mm.
understand, is a prerequisite in doing a
Yes.
PhD in the UK. So, because then you must definitely do it because then your PhD, you get paid for your PhD, if I'm not wrong. So, you,
In India
my
also,
only
yes.
recommend, yes, yes. My only recommendation is that sit with yourself and understand what your intention is behind it and see if it matches.
Right. Uh, Ma'am, you've been incredibly kind and generous with your time and guidance here today. We really appreciate it. I hope our viewers really find something incredible out of your experience. Thank you, and we wish you the very, very best for your journey.
Thank you, Ritu. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. All the best.
Thank you.